This is a video on Scratch 1.2. So let's just check it out without further ado. And I'm going to be checking out two versions over here. One is 1.2 beta and another one is 1.2.1. So first let's just check 1.2 beta. So we just begin from the correct versioning number, and it's from 29th October 2007, which is quite a useful thing, which is written over here, which don't used to be written. And so let's just check it out from the menu bar as usual. Now top to the bottom style. So there is no notable change except this beta written over here on the Scratch logo. And yeah, they also removed the other languages over here. And of course, we know that there should be beta bugs over here, so that I can be forced to be closing it sometimes. But still, it had one special feature which no other thing had. So we can see that there's one more interface change over here, draggable on the website. So if you check this out, if you enter the full screen, you can see it's draggable. It's not supposed to be draggable on website. It should be draggable on full screen or something like that. You can see it's not draggable. That's how it happens, just for draggability. But even though there is no draggable blocks, actually, if I check it over here, you can see there's no draggable blocks, but only this feature is there. You cannot just toggle between these things. You can just keep it just like that, how it is, if you need that movement. And you can see motion blocks always has no change. And so let's just go to the controls blocks. You can see that there's not much change. If you scroll down, you can see there's a comment block. Wait, I forgot that before that I never tried to right click, because I know that there was no comment in the older versions. This is the first time they added comments, but it's in a different style, because they thought this style makes more sense, because adding it as a block, right, makes more sense. That's the reason for adding it like this. Well, I like this comment block, but I don't know what is the reason for their removal. Maybe due to the controversy in the community or in the forum or something like that. And yeah, that's the new thing about controls block. You can just add whatever comment you want. Imagine you're keeping on script like that. You can just put it in below it, or maybe above it. I think above it makes more sense. I don't know what was Scratch team going to do. I think first they read the code or something. First they read the code, then only they do the comment. That's how it works. You can see that's how you put a comment, and you can just put another script over here, and then put a comment over there. You can just put it like that, and let me just put it. You can just make scripts like that. That's one simple way to do it. And yeah, there's no new blocks in the control as well, or no changes. And we can see also looks has some major changes as well, like adding the costume number over here for detecting the costume numbers. And I think there's no changes. I meant sensing has more changes. That's what was coming to me. And instead of color stitching, this has been changed to the, instead of color is over, it has been changed into the color stitching. Also, this X of sprite one has been added for the first time over here. It's not to be said like that. It can be said as, I'm thinking, what can I say? It's more like an other sprites reporter. Means like, imagine the other sprite has this thing. Let's just make one more sprite. Oops, it's not working. I thought it's not working. Okay, that feature is working, but I have just seen it having the bugs just a few moments ago, and it's working for now. And if you show this X position of this sprite, you can see the sprite X position. This can detect the other sprite's position. I know that most of you people didn't use this block, of course. Let me just make one variable. Instead of using variables at that time, we can just use the same block for detecting some particular things. So you can see that it's doing it. Let's just say this block out rather than making a variable. Otherwise, you got to make a variable over here called whatever, and then store it inside the whatever. That's how it used to be. and then do it over here. I know that most of the people are using like this only, but just to remind you guys, there is the block like this even in 3.0. And so let's just see the sound blocks now. And sound blocks, that are tempo and volume related blocks added. And yeah, so let's go to the numbers. They called us numbers before. And instead of the absolute value and round block over here, or round block still here, instead of the absolute block, it has been replaced with the square root of a number. Or you can just put that whole drop down menu, whatever you want, like absolute value, etc, etc, but the square root is the default thing here. And yeah, there is no change in pen blocks. Or in the variable, there's no change. I'm not going to be making variables, but you can see the stage montage changes like this. You can just, this is like the present version of 1.4. before it used to have a different drop down here, and I don't know. And that's it about this version, I think so. Or maybe let's just check the paint editor, which we forget to check. You can see one wrong thing is that when you switch between windows, let me just do it in a different way. This happens to be broken, and this one also is there, but that's not changed at all because the editor was never re-added in the beta. You can see the bugs are there, and also it gets hang usually. I'm just trying to recreate a bug because you can see the bug sometime. I think it was due to a limitation or something. It's also using more memory and hogging on memory than the other versions, even 1.2.1 or 1.4. That's the thing. Let me just end this process so that I can open 1.2.1. Sorry, let me just close that. So now let's just go to the 1.2.1 and see the changes. Most probably there's no change that I need to remind you, but there are quite simple changes. I think this language is still same because the reason is they removed the whole locally, I think so, locally translation, because they need to remake it in case there are also very drastic changes to the blocks and nobody's contributing perhaps. So they will slowly do it later instead of wasting time on doing it for 1.0 as if it was the last release. And so I think in this thing, one major change is the sound blocks. They added the rest for a beat, and they have not changed much blocks here, but they have removed the comment blocks. But of course there's no alternative for it yet added. Alternative means right clicking and adding comments, or just adding comments over here. It's never added in this version, and it's just for the next version